Okay, guys, today I will be interviewing an amazing life coach. You've been doing this for a long time. I read it's really incredible what I read on your bio. Can you
Uh-huh.
introduce to the audience, please?
Sorry, John, I kind of lost you
Hello.
there.
No. Can you introduce to yourself to the audience, please?
Yeah, my name is Gerry Phoenix. I'm Irish. I'm currently living here in Stockholm for the last 5 years, but my professionality is acupuncture, life coaching, NLP, and pretty soon CBT also. And there will be a few other things I'll be adding to my toolbox for helping people and help their self development and personal growth and evolution, basically. So I'm constantly learning new things and evolving in myself and in my practice and in my personal life. So yeah, over 15 years experience within dancing with the life coaching and holistic therapy, you know. So
Yeah.
that's my background.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. Like, I read it. It's pretty incredible. And we talk over like Twitter. You're a pretty cool guy. Like when you like message me, I like that. I really like that. About you. Like, how was the TV show, production? How was it?
Oh, the meeting was great, you know. And after the meeting, I'm not allowed to say so much, but it's going to be really good. Going to be doing some acupuncture and coaching on this very special guy, and if it goes down well, we'll be doing more on. They'll be asking me to come in and do more of life coaching with the guy, you know. And for legal reasons, I can't say who it is and what he's suffering from at the moment. But just to give you a general, he's like any teenager that's a bit lost at the moment, you know. And so they're going to record his recovery back on the right path, you know. So the meeting with the production team was very well, very positive, and we'll see what happens now. So we're going recording on Thursday, you know. So I'm quite happy with that. Came out quite out of the blue, the phone call there last week, so it was good. So hopefully more of that will happen.
Yeah, that's so good for you. Um, for your journey, how did you end up being a life coach, NLP, and acupuncture? Because
Well, it
in
was
my mind, sorry, go ahead.
well,
Uh, uh,
like the whole story is like basically many how I got into it. Like I remember a very young memory of a family member being operated, and the doctor is kind of messed up, and she died on the operating table, and from that was the first kind of intention belief. These words weren't, I didn't know what their words were at the time, but to do something about it for people. And then the second time, another family member was being ignored by the doctors because he had a bit of a drink problem, and they said no, it's just the drink. That's why you have the pain in the stomach. And a year later, he ended up getting cancer, quite bad, and that was the second kind of development of a fire and a desire to practice medicine or some form of something medical or counseling or something that to listen to people because it should never be ignored. And then the other two was that through my own personal injuries, I ended up getting massage therapy, and yeah, that's good. Maybe I could learn that, you know. So I went to Thailand, studied that, and then a few years after that, I went out and did a teacher training program. And then when I returned, I used to work in a hotel, which is now owned by Donald Trump. It wasn't at the time, but downstairs it was very dark, very little sunlight. So I said I must go for some acupuncture, and I went into this. I had a good feeling for this place, and I went in and I described to the therapist what I'm feeling: sad, feeling down, feeling depressed, low of energy. He said, "Yeah, you're sad," and I was very reactive at the time. I said, "I know I'm bloody sad. That's why I'm coming to see you." He said, "No, you don't understand. You have seasonal affective disorder." And I said, "Okay, I apologize for my reaction." So she needled me up, and I felt a lot more energy, a lot more positive, less drained, and it felt good. It felt really good. And so I went back and did a course of acupuncture with her, and it really helped that condition. So then I started tuning into my intuition and started asking her more about it, where she was educated, and she gave me all the advice. So a year or two later, I ended up studying, doing a course, just over 3 years, studying Chinese medicine. So it's like, a series of events, just being open. But I've always been kind of an interest in Eastern philosophy too, like and the healing ways. So just trying to find out a way that can help people and help myself in my own journey. So that's how I kind of got into it. And the coaching side of things I was always doing anyway. It's just when I started to do the course, I stopped 10 minutes into the course and I turned around my wife. I've been doing this for years. So it was good to just get a certificate in doing it. So it's been good, if that makes any sense to you, Johnny. I've been doing it all the time. It's just unknown to myself. So it came. I was like a duck to water when I started doing all these other courses in coaching and NLP.
Very happy when you explain it. Like, you have a passion. Like, I can feel like inside you, you really want to like help people. And
Yeah, yeah,
also,
yeah, big time.
I noticed. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go
I
ahead.
mean, that's the core of it, is to help people and not to entertain people or enable people, but to actually try and do my best to empower them and get them to find out the real power within themselves, and take responsibility for their lives, you know. So with the life coaching, that does help, and the NLP does help, and the CBT does help. But also what helps as well is my own life experience, being having the wisdom to pass that on as well. But yeah, I love helping people.
Thank you so much. I do the interview with you and others because I love how promoting what they do and inspire,
Cool.
right?
Yeah.
And, you're very spiritual. I can get the sense of feel that you're very spiritual. And of course, I don't know if you take any martial arts, but no martial arts, right?
No,
But
I don't do martial arts, but I like the sport. All right, but I don't participate.
right, you're very spiritual in nature. Like, where does spiritual come from? Or a lot of guys don't listen to their intuition. How come you're in tune with yours?
Because I learned, to be honest with you, like anybody else, at a very early age, I knew what it was, um, but I kind of kept quiet because back then in the 80s or late 70s, it wasn't looked upon. You'd be looked upon strange, you know. So I kept quiet for many years. But the point I'm trying to make here, Johnny, why I trusted so much, because the one time I didn't trust it, it cost me a lot, emotionally, psychologically, financially, and physically too. Not to listen to it from a previous relationship, basically. I should have listened to my gut rather than my head. So that's the vital importance of listening to your gut, because if you don't, you're going to have a serious consequence about it. And it's not a feeling, it's not an emotional feeling, but an actual instinct. And I should have listened to it. But look, that's part of life. So I always
Mm,
always listen to it.
mm. Always.
Yeah, it's vital. It's vitally important.
Yeah, I can get a sense. Also, you put your practice into this, your practice in the spiritual, right?
Yeah,
Like
there
you
would there
when
would be there would always be an element of that. I would combine the spirituality with the science and with the acupuncture as well, and mixing the Eastern philosophy and Western philosophy, like really holistically, a whole view, not just have an Eastern view, but have a world view, and combination of the science behind it and the spiritual side of things, is vitally important,
hmm, are
you
you
know.
religious? Are
No,
you are you
no,
religious?
no, no. No, I wouldn't call myself a religious person, but that definition of being a religious person, that word means to go out and find the truth for yourself.
Mm,
You know,
really?
so in one sense, yes, I would be. Without the dogma.
I never actually thought of that before because I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious. I used to
Yeah,
be Buddhist. People,
but if
like,
we look at all religions, one man or one woman went out to find the truth for themselves, and all that philosophy, that truth was a religion was built upon it. So a real religious mind is to find out what is true.
mm, that is so beautiful what you said there.
But it's
Uh,
the truth, John. You know, it's the absolute
yes,
truth.
yes,
Unfortunately, a lot of dogma and tradition comes around and misses the point. You know, of that fundamental truth.
yeah, that is true. What you
Yeah.
said is true. Yeah, it's very, they're very like. I look up to. I don't know if you know Bob Proctor. I look up to Bob Proctor. Um,
Oh yeah,
he,
yeah, yeah.
uh, one of his seminar, "You Were Born Rich." He was like, while everybody said that one religion is right, and all the other religions are all wrong, but I come to see that they're all saying the same thing, but different ways, right?
Yeah.
And it's like that's why I always go toward to Hinduism because it's so spiritual in nature, but it's always evolving.
Mm-hmm.
It's not stuck in dogma. But for you, I would like to say, what is the for your? You always go towards the Eastern philosophy and Western. Like, what is the Eastern philosophy for you? Like, oh,
Eastern philosophy, like I would listen to a lot of the Tao, Laos, and the 10,000 things, Buddhism. You know, like in Buddhism, they wouldn't have a name for God. What they call it is da da da, and that's a beautiful um, word to be using because the moment you say you have no picture, you have no image, you have no projection of what that is. And when people say, I believe in God, people instantly build up a picture, an image, a belief system, so on and so forth, that prohibits them from seeing what is. When you say da da da, there's no image, there's no belief system, there's nothing. You have to find
mm,
out stuff, and the direct translation is the 10,000 things within 10,000 things, you know. So the Eastern philosophy, it's quite ancient, but there's a lot of truths in it between Chinese and the Japanese, the Indian as well, and it's a lot older. The
yes,
culture's a lot older than the Western world.
yes, and the Western world don't get it, right? They think it's
Not
all
yet, no,
money.
no, not yet. At some point they will, and you see the problem. You see the problem is with direct translation from old Hindu texts and Chinese and so on for it doesn't exactly translate. It gives it in around the same thing, but it's not the exact translation for a lot of the languages. And that's just fact, you know. So we could be reading a quote from Laos and it mightn't be exactly what it means. That's just a fact about languages.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Language can be skill. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, when for you, how did you uh go in when you do the acupuncture and what was it? You said CB. I can't remember the word because you said CBT or what was it?
Uh, when I do the acupuncture,
Yeah, when you do the acupuncture, like how did you practice it and how do you know all the what to do with it?
oh,
Like,
I studied for over 3 years in the Galway College of Acupuncture back home in Ireland. So that was a pretty hardcore course, you know. So you learn anatomy, physiology, you learn the Chinese names and the Chinese diagnosis like tongue, pulse, all the different patterns, internal, external, excess, deficient, um, and all the acupuncture points, all 365. But there's a lot more than that. But you would use a classic set of points. So there's vigorous training regarding that. It's not a weekend course, so you have to learn proper needle and proper diagnosis to the core, and it was very, very hardcore grading system as well, you know, in it. So it was like a proper course, you know, the acupuncture. But you get a good foundation after the 3 years, and the rest you begin to learn and experience through clinical experience, you know.
What's it for? Like, if someone who just learned, like, I know the word like consciously, but subconscious, I mean, maybe I know the word subconsciously, but can you make it aware what is acupuncture? So what does it do?
Yeah, acupuncture basically is just these acupoints here on the body. So basically, from a Chinese perspective, it works along the meridians, the energy lines. But from a Western perspective, they work very closely along the nervous system, which is also working with the neurotransmitters instantly. And from a Eastern perspective, Chinese perspective, what it's helping is production of blood, qi, and oxygen, to put it quite simply. So when you insert the needle, the neurotransmitter is going to automatically, okay, we're under attack, blood is starting going to flow, oxygen is going to flow, the instant healing, the natural healing is going to kick into effect. But also the Chinese perspective is when the certain points reflect the internal organs, or they reflect the unconscious emotional wound, which work on that. So different points for different ailments, either physical, emotional, spiritual, or psychological. So it works very, very well, actually. So from a Western mind, it works along a lot with the neurotransmitters. You know.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's very good for stress, very good for anxiety, very good for infertility, shoulder problems, back problems. I could go on and on. You know, it's very good at complementing every disease that's out there. You know.
Wow.
So it just activates it. Yeah, and you see the fascinating thing. A lot of people, you know, you have skeptics, and that's fine, and you have people who believe in it, and that's fine. But the fact is, you don't need a belief system, because the data is there, the scientific research is there, and the World Health Organization is behind it, saying, yeah, it does benefit a lot of conditions. And people get surprised when I say you don't have to believe in it, because it works. And also, it is used on horses, on dogs, and dolphins. And it's last time I checked, they don't have a belief system. And it actually works a lot quicker with animals than it does humans. And I've worked with dogs and I've worked with horses, and a lot of the vets here in around Europe are getting more into the acupuncture, veterinary acupuncture for horses. You know, so it's getting good results. So that just proves it doesn't need a belief system. You know, you just need to know your anatomy, your diagnosis, like anything else, Johnny. You know.
Yeah, when you say it like that, Gerry, that's kind of opened my mind, because I always thought it was used for humans, right? But when you say, you know, dogs and horses, that blew my mind. But it seemed like you also know a little bit about the history of Chinese, or the qi, right?
Yeah, the qi.
Yeah, because I'm doing a little bit of research on you know, energy. Of course, like, we know that there is energy. People think it's not, you know, there, but it is. I felt it before. But in your perspective, what is qi? Like,
now,
how can
like everybody else, now we were taught like the energy, right? But actually, that translation, it's been lost. From a French guy that went to China and brought it back, and he said it was energy. But what a new information from a very old book, what that word actually means is, from what I've read, is the flow of blood and oxygen, which is vital. Because if you're blood deficient, you're going to be low on energy. If your oxygen levels are down, you're going to be low on energy. And without blood, you can't have any energy, you can't have any life. If we think rationally. Because your body, blood is the life force. And that's the vital thing for Chinese medicine. Always look at the blood, the state of the blood. And it's the same for Western medicine. You know, people can kind of blow it out of proportion, you know, but the fact is, if you're blood deficient, you're going to be energy deficient. So the root is, are you blood deficient, or are you your lungs, your oxygen intake, is it flowing right? Because one works together. So people might disagree with that, but that's what I read on a book that was just came out lately. That's the real interpretation of qi. Life force. Yeah.
Life.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I also would go along with the energy, the life force, the whole lot. You know, because everything is energy. Our brain is fired up with energy, electricity going through there all the time, you know? So everything is energy.
You know quite a lot. Like
just a little bit. Like just a little bit.
Yeah, but you have depth though. You have depth though. When you were do you have any fear, or how did you overcome fear?
Yes, like anyone else, Johnny, you know. Absolutely. But the way I came over was to face it. And sitting with it and accepting it and embracing it. My own shadow, my own self-created shadow, and all that stuff. You know, I mean, that's the only way you're going to get over fear, is by facing it. And really, paradoxically, fear is just another word for freedom. When you face it, freedom is calling you there. The moment you face your fears, that's just a fact of life.
That's so powerful.
You know, but that's the truth, Johnny. That's the truth. There's a big difference between danger and fear. Danger, don't be stupid. Don't face the danger, but face the fear. No matter what it is, and fear can be relative. I mean, what you might be afraid of is a walk in the park for me. So fear is relative. And vice versa, you know? And really, and a lot, when I'm working with people, I would ask them, what's holding you back? Fear. Okay, that's a big general. Why don't we try and name it first before using fear? Because you're using that word a bit too much. Let's identify it. What is the action? What is the archetype? What's playing out? Because you could use fear, and that just, you're not really looking at what's holding you back. You know, the fear of what? The fear of why? The fear of how, you know? Because the moment you name it and nail it, the truth comes. You're free.
Is that what you do with your patient for NLP?
Yeah. I work very much on the unconscious belief systems and working through the self-created collective fears within a person. Not only within the individual, but also within the tribe and the collective, working through all the limiting beliefs. Because where we're born is just the consequences of the beliefs we inherit, the conditionings. And that goes for culturally, religious, and so on and so forth. And behavioral patterns as well.
What you say is true.
Yeah.
How long does it take for you to uncover or like work with a patient and to be able to how do you like I think I have a sense that you do understand the unconscious, right? And I feel like I feel like you do. And how do you pull their unconscious out or something? How do you utilize that? What do you like? Do you go deep into it, like the patient?
Oh, very deep. Yeah. very deep. When they're willing, because that's the only way it's going to be done, you know. But I would have a list of 12 to 15 questions and go through them with the person. But a lot of it would be observation, a lot of intuitive observation, and try and help them find out what it is, you know, a kind of a guide. But it's generally Socratic questions to find out the truth, to find out the root cause. And then when I'm done with them questions, I would go along with my own intuition to just dig a bit deeper and get them to find out the truth. And then that generally, you would have an emotional breakthrough, or to go, oh my God, I can't believe I created that belief system. And that's the point. That's what I want to get to, Johnny. It's irrelevant of the experience. Okay, shit happens in life. But what is more damaging is the beliefs we create within ourselves throughout that negative experience. And that can live on throughout your whole days. And it's to get ownership of that self-creating belief system, self-limiting belief system.
I'm listening. I'm listening to your what you say. It's belief system.
No, I just lost you on camera there, Johnny. You know.
Okay. Oh, all right. When it comes to your life, right? What is your passion in life, and what you love to do?
Well, my passion in life. Okay, let's talk personally. In my personal life, I'm very passionate about, you know, my wife, my family here, friends, connection, music, being creative. I'm passionate about education. I'm passionate about wisdom. You know, I'm very passionate about being passionate, you know, and always being creative and reinventing myself and evolving and growing and learning, all that stuff, Johnny, you know. And the same would kind of apply, apart from the family, but within my professional life, being very passionate about people, help them develop, help them grow, facilitate a change, and bring out the best in people, you know. To point them in the right point to where the light switch is, you know.
You said you're passionate about education. Why are you passionate about education?
It's a vital tool, Johnny. It's a very vital tool to educate a mind, to help a person become more aware of their abilities and more aware of the world. Now, to be honest with you, I dropped out of school at 17, 18. I never went on to college, but that's the one regret I kind of have. You know, I do and I don't, but life took me on a different path. But if I stayed in college, I think if I stayed in school, I would have done my best in school and went on to college to be a medical doctor or a neurosurgeon. But life, and at the time, life was pretty tough back home, you know. So life just took me on a different path. But I love what I'm doing now, and I don't regret not going that way. But if I had a choice, I would have done it. If you get what I'm saying.
Absolutely. The reason why
life took me on a different healing journey, you know.
So
education is vital. If you like, it's the old saying goes, the more you learn, the more you earn. Not only in money wise, but also self-respect, self-worth, self-awareness, more aware of yourself, more aware of other people. So you earn a lot more than just money, but a lot of awareness and consciousness the more you educate yourself. So that's why it's very vital.
Thank you so much for that. Like the education part, I love education. It's just that the school, the way it teaches, it's not really helping people to become the best version of themselves. Or
no, No, and we have to establish a fact here that the educational, I was just listening to this the other day, that the educational system was basically devised by the what was it, oh the what revolution was that, the Industrial Revolution. So everyone had to be educated to be a carpenter, to be a mechanic, to be a builder, so on and so forth. That kind of revolution is over now because we're in a technological revolution at the moment. But I think what is vital is also having a spiritual, psychological revolution. There should be a lot of that integrated into the colleges and schools. And I just read today, I must send you the link, what they're doing in New York, I think, making it by law that kids, that part of the mental health is part of their education for psychological and emotional well-being. So I really desire for this to catch on collectively, not in America, but also around the globe. And it's about bloody time that we brought that law in, because it's a vital part of a child's education.
Yeah, the reason why I talk about education because I wasn't so lucky, right? I was put in the or label when you label something, you
Mm-hmm.
see it and you live your whole life that way. And I was labeled as a special ed kid, right? And I felt pressure. I felt
Mm-hmm.
dumb. I feel like why was I put in this place? But that's okay. But but for you, you love what you do. Thank you so much for doing the thing that you do. And the time that I spent with you right now is pretty incredible, right? Because you have like amazing, gift that you give to the world. Thank you. How you define winning for
You're
you?
welcome, Johnny. How do I define
How you define winning?
winning?
Winning, yeah. How you define winning?
Do you see this? I know this has become the new philosophy in winning. Now, I'll be totally honest with you. That implies competition with another. And there's enough competition, Johnny, in the world. I'm doing better. I've won this. Competition. There should be no competition between individuals. We should be growing and learning together and co-creating together and bringing the best out within each other. And it's good to be competitive, have a goal, and but do it for yourself, not in competition with her. Oh, I've won, you're the loser. We played this game when we were kids in school. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. The reason why I asked that
Mm-hmm.
because I think that too many often people think like, well, for winning meaning, well, in general, the reason why I ask, people think this competitive, like you said, right? But
Mm-hmm.
for when I interview so many people, winning, or some people don't look at winning like that. Some people look at winning as for their family or their happiness. I could put it in the success way, I guess, but I put it in this term because I want to see what people think.
Mm-hmm.
So, but thank you so much for that. I guess we can take it to the other one. What the success look like to you, but it could be different.
Yeah, success. It's relative. It's really relative. Like let's say for example, you could have the most wealthiest and successful man in the world, and there's a good few, but yet they have no core values, or they have no respect for their fellow man. They will walk right through them and just see them as a number. And then we have the other side, very successful at being very truthful, very honorable, very caring, very loving, very compassionate, in alignment totally with their core values, and being absolutely true to themselves and having integrity. Now, that is the real meaning of success, because the other, if you don't have them core values, You can have all the money in the world. It won't make any difference to anybody because you'll still be seen as an asshole, a narcissistic person. Because if you can be successful in honoring your own truth, then you are the most successful person in the world. And trusting your gut, going out to create, and to
I guess.
empower others. Sorry, Johnny.
Sorry. It's just that I love what you're saying, though. I get a sense that you were like this, kind of like spiritual warriors, like kind of like a samurai, like with honor.
In a way, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. What you say about core value. It give the audience and give me substance to see that there's just more than a number, right?
Yeah.
We should value a human life.
Yeah.
We should value and respect. That one, I think that ring truth to me because I want to have, I want to keep my more the respect for people to be able to say like that they are important, that they have something to offer for the world, you know, and I believe that's what I see in people, and also they're good in people, even if there's like tons of wrong things about people, like the massive shootings. I still believe in
Yeah.
people because they're good.
Yeah.
So no matter.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Nobody is born evil or bad. It's just their upbringing, Johnny, and the beliefs, the learned behavior from the home, from the village, from the county, from the country they learn, and the whole belief system that they are conditioned by, and that's just the way it is, and it's the behavior because people, they create a belief system and live by it, live and die by it. Um, and that's okay if it's serving you and it's serving another, but if it's causing another harm, well, then you have to take a very good look at one's self and belief system to ask yourself, is it just a belief or is it true? Is it serving me? Is it serving the collective? And am I being responsible or irresponsible? Three very simple questions.
mm,
And we can see this being played out so much in the political realm. With Mr. Trump at the moment, what he believes to be true, and he just go, I believe this, and not staying with the facts.
mm,
Don't want to get all political, but it's there. We have to talk about it. Because that's all up in a very primitive belief system.
mm,
Protecting their belief system more than preserving life.
mm. Oh, I see now.
Yeah.
You're for you. You want to preserve life. I can feel that in your heart you care. I can feel that you care deeply
I do,
about.
Johnny. Yeah.
I feel like you care about the humanity.
Mm-hmm.
I can feel it. I mean, when you say it, I feel. Where does this um like caring for others or humanity come from? Where does it come from?
Now, I'm not going to speak about myself, Johnny. I'm going to talk about the collective here. Because, Johnny, quite simply, it is within our human nature to care. Quite simply,
Mm,
it is our fundamental nature to care for another.
mm,
If we
uh,
just tap into that nature and allow it to be, to care for one another, not in a cliche way, but to actually realize to care for another.
mm.
It's in the
Very
human heart.
self.
It's in our
It's not.
core values. If you're living to your core values, it becomes your second nature to care, to be kind, to be honest. to look out for one, to guide somebody. You know. Plus, it doesn't cost anything, you know.
You're like a sense of like a monk, like I feel like I was like, wow, this guy like pretty impressive. Like not all the other, but the aspect that you're a genuine human being who loves what he does, and cares. I appreciate this amazing interview. I love it. Thank you.
I appreciate the time too, Johnny. You know, we're all helping each other here. We're creating something, co-creating something here together. You know, and I really appreciate it deeply.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Where can we find you? Like, where can we find you online or offline? Where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram. I do a lot of daily posts up there. Gerry Phoenix on Instagram. I have my clinic page. I can send that to you. You can put it up later on if you want. I can send you my coaching profile and my clinic website. So people just Google me, and you know they'll find me on Twitter, and they'll find me on Instagram and the usual outlets, you know.
Mm-hmm. Okay, guys. That's it for today, and I'll see you guys next time. Subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.